Named for herself, starring alongside an all-star cast in Love Actually, and won over the nation, of course, in Gavin and Stacey. But what's occurring behind the scenes for the wonderful Joanna Page?
Joanna is here to reveal some story she's never told before as she opens up in her brand new memoir. Here it is, written in car parks.
Oh my gosh,
up and
in
down
car
the country,
parks, all over the place. I've got 4 children, and I thought that I'd be able to look after the kids, do a little bit of writing. I mean, when I first of all was going to do this, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like Sarah Jessica Parker. And the first thing I wanted to do was go out and buy a handbag and go, yeah, I'm in this world now. And then I thought, oh my gosh, no, that actually means you've got to write the book. OK, just get on with it. And so then eventually I would hand the kids over to James, my husband.
And the 2 spaniels.
And the 2 spaniels and the 4 guinea pigs. And I'd hand them over to him, and then I'd go out in the car, drive out, park in a pub car park, and then I'd write until about 1 o'clock in the morning, until it got a bit too dodgy. And then I'd drive to another car park there until 5 o'clock in the morning, just very broken and just like in a panic, writing in the car. And then I'd drive back home, park outside the house, because I couldn't go inside because the kids would smell me and they'd wake up, and then that's it, your working time's gone. And then
you must have been smelling quite bad by then if you're in the car all night.
Yes. And then I'd go in and be like, right, come on then, everybody up for school run. So, yeah, so that's how I wrote the book. I think you can tell it by the time I got to the end. I was reading it going, my God, when I was doing the audio book for it, right, I was thinking, my gosh, there's a whole section with breastfeeding, guinea pigs, babies, and I sound quite doolally, to be honest, going towards the end. I thought, whoa, I can tell where I was with this.
You weren't breastfeeding the guinea pigs, were you? No. Because that would have been very confusing. Yes. It's just so you, this,
yes.
Jo, and as we've already had a little sense, you have a lot to say. There's so much that comes out of you, and yes. Actually, there's a lot in here that you've been very unguarded about.
I know, because I thought if I'm going to write a book, I'm going to have to do it like me. I mean, I am me. I'm honest, I'm raw, I open my mouth, I tell it as it is, and I'm sorry I can't write a book and just sort of gloss over lots of things and the reality of having 4 children and trying to film at the same time, 6 weeks after giving birth to my first baby, being trussed up as Queen Elizabeth I with a big red wig on my head, sprinting across a field with David Tennant with a Zygon running after me. The reality of that, right, it's raw and it's brutal and it's in the book. But there was one moment when I thought, oh my gosh, this is too personal, you're just being too personal. And I said, pull the whole thing, it's too much for me. I no, I'm not going to do it. And then I met up with my friend Jez in a coffee shop, and I said, Jez, I can't do it if I'm just not being me. And he said, Jo, just go for it, just do it, just be like you. And so I am. I mean, it's brutal and it's honest.
So it's Jez's fault then?
It's Jez, it's all your fault.
Oh, well, I'm very much looking forward to the fact it's nearly Christmas and I can watch Love Actually.
Oh, I know.
Because I'm a bit like your mum. It's not Christmas until I've watched it.
Until you've watched Love Actually. But I don't know, I talk all about Love Actually and the audition, because I didn't originally go for the part of John and Judy. And when I first read the script, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I pity the people who were going to play John and Judy. How can they do that?
Yes.
And I auditioned for a different part. They said, you're not right, so I got called back, you know, for the part of Judy. Got it, but then the reality of filming and, you know, the nudity and all of the situations. And my mum said, oh, for goodness sake, Joanna, just imagine that you're topless on the beach, you know, you can do it. So I thought, right, OK. And then I found out that Martin was going to be in it.
Martin Freeman, yeah.
And I thought, well, he's been in The Office, so he's not going to be dodgy. I mean, that was like in my head, you know. But it turned out to be wonderful. And the hardest part, actually, was the read-through, which I talk about going into the room and there's Hugh Grant and Marty McCutcheon and Alan Rickman and my idol, Emma Thompson. And halfway through, I went to the loo and it wasn't working. And I remember opening the door and walking out, and Emma was there and she said, hello, Joanna, lovely to meet you. And I said, oh, hello, Emma, it's lovely to meet you. The toilet's not working, but I've only done a wee.
I'm sure it was very memorable. And you talk about one of the lovely things of this, because you go through your early career when you just came out of drama school and some of the things you had to do where there was no protection for some of the more physical scenes that you might have had to do, or sex scenes or whatever. But Liam Neeson was amazing on Love Actually, wasn't he?
Wonderful. Before my very first day of going on set, I was outside my trailer and he came up to me and he was so calm and so stable. And he said, now listen, they've looked after you incredibly well and they will when you go on set. but just, you know in your mind what you're going to do, because they'll try and push you, they'll try and get as much out of you as they possibly can, but you stay solid and you know what you're doing. Which was wonderful advice, which I didn't really take on board because he was this far away from me and I was drowning in his eyes and his accent was so wonderful. But yeah, he was lovely and very solid and very secure, and it set me up to
very
go,
paternal.
right, come on, you know. Yes, he was like a dad, and I just thought, no, come on, you can do this and you know what you're doing.
What I also love about the book is, though, because of your level of honesty, it just goes to show how sometimes you can be going through a really hard time. I'm talking about that moment where you didn't get the role as baby.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And you were heartbroken.
I was absolutely heartbroken.
And then around comes Gavin and Stacey. It was almost like, actually, that wasn't meant to happen because this was just around the corner.
I very much believe that whatever happens, happens for a reason. And I begin the book by talking about the biggest job that I never, ever got. I'd come out of RADA. I was a serious actress, never thought about comedy, was in, lots of costume dramas. Then work started drying up, and then I got an audition for the part of Lisa, the sister in Dirty Dancing, the musical. Went to meet them, and they said, oh, my gosh, no, you are Baby, you're much more like Baby. And I talk all about the audition process and everything, and then I get down to the final 3. I find myself in Pineapple Dance Studios, completely seduced by all the dancers and leg warmers, this whole other world, which just isn't mine.
Louis Spence.
Oh, it was so... Yes, it's brilliant. And then got in, read with Joseph, who was the dancer who played Johnny, did our scene together. I remember them dragging a mattress into the middle of the floor and going, right, this is the cabin scene, go all the way through now and, act out this scene. So we went for it, and he was wonderful. Halfway through, he managed to do some dirty dancing with me. I just remember saying my lines, and then exactly like in the film, he, in one swift move, grabbed my leg, shoved it round his thigh, and spun me round, and I actually found myself in real life doing dirty dancing, thinking this is thoroughly wonderful. So I'm all like this. I come out of the room, and then within a couple of seconds, they just came up and said, sorry, Jo, but that's it for you. You can go. And I found myself walking out, crying in the middle of Covent Garden. I talk all about going to the Savoy Hotel, drinking the minibar dry, and then I came back to East Dulwich, went back to work in my shoe shop. 2 weeks after, my agent phoned and said, darling, I've sent you a script. It's a show about a Welsh girl who falls in love with a boy from Essex. I think it's funny. See what you think.
We're going to keep talking to it. You're going to get the weather. We can't let her go. We're going to hold on. Joanna was mid-flow when we threw you mercilessly into the weather. We just got to... There's so much in this book. We're not going to have the time. We've just got to Gavin and Stacey.
Oh, yes.
Can we just start with just how special that's been for us as viewers, but for you lot as a cast?
Oh, my gosh, it's been wonderful. Just listening when you played the music there, it just brings tears to my eyes because it just reminds me of the finale. But when I first read it, I thought, this is me, this is my family. My mum is Gwen. You go to, back home, she's like, oh, let me make you an omelette. And my Uncle Anthony gave me a rape alarm before I went to London. Didn't do me any good, though.
Just like Bryn did.
Yes, yeah, exactly like Bryn did. And so, it is my family. But I remember getting to London and Leicester Square, walking into the toilets for the audition and seeing Ruth straight away and saying I thought she was wonderful. And then she went into the room and said, oh, my gosh, I've just met Stacey. And then I went in to audition, and apparently all I did was talk about missing out on Dirty Dancing, going and staying at the Savoy. I just talked and talked, read the pages, the scenes, and then went, and they said, right, OK, we found Stacey. And then Ruth said to me, you need to do a Cardiff accent, though, because Stacey's from Cardiff. And that's like Nessa's accent, which is like Cardiff. So I ignored it, and I thought, I'm not going to work on it, I can't do it. And I went back into the room then to do a chemistry read with Matthew Horn. And I went in and I was talking very Welshy and doing Stacey like this. And Ruth said, what on earth are you doing? And she took me out of the room and I said, I'm trying to do a Cardiff accent. And she said, it just sounds terrible, just go in and just be you. And I went in and I read the scene with Matt from the first episode where we go to the nightclub and then they have their first kiss, and we did that one. And that was it.
Wow. How special, though, to be involved in something that... What were the ratings for the...
It
was just like you couldn't even...
The finale, I remember it got to the very last day and we'd been waiting all the way through filming, and there was just this sense of foreboding. And I got into makeup. Thank goodness I spilt a cup of coffee over myself straight away because it pulled me to my senses. But then Matt came in and he gave me a present and that set me off. But I'd been OK, and then we got to the pub where we were doing karaoke, and we knew that the theme music would be playing over the karaoke, so you wouldn't be able to hear us. Yet still, before Rob got up to do Uncle Bryn's karaoke, we were thinking, what's that noise? What is it? And we pulled a curtain away, and it was Rob with earphones in doing a whole vocal warm-up for his karaoke. he. And then I really went when Alison and Larry got up to sing Leaving on a Jet Plane.
Yes.
And they weren't very good. They didn't know the words, and they were just like, they sort of didn't know what they were doing, but it was heartbreaking, and it was beautiful. And Rob turned round in the middle of a take to look at us, and he started sobbing, and he just went, "It's so sad. It's just so sad." And that was it. We were gone. It was just in my heart, and it was beautiful.
But it'll never be gone. It'll be with everybody forever, won't it?
Every Christmas we'll have it back and watch the repeats.
Yeah, for sure.
And you can enjoy all of this lush story.
Oh, it is
Joanna's
lush.
book's out today.
Today, yes.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Enjoy every moment of it.
Thank you.
Everyone's going to love it. It's you and everything in here, Jo. Thank you for coming and sharing it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you
Shall
for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.